Larry Page didn't rush to get paid. He rushed to secure control. While most founders sprinted toward early monetization, he slowed the game down, resisted cashing in too soon, and ignored the pressure to turn attention into money before the system was ready. That choice looked reckless to outsiders. Investors wanted returns, competitors wanted headlines, the market wanted proof. Larry wanted leverage. Instead of pulling money out, Larry Page pushed it back in. While others celebrated early profits, he treated revenue as raw material, something to be shaped, not consumed. Cash wasn't a reward, it was the fuel. He understood that the fastest way to kill expansion is to interrupt it. He built systems that didn't depend on daily heroics, systems that could operate while he stepped away, systems that scaled quietly, without demanding constant decision-making at the top. Most founders optimize for the next quarter because quarters feel real. Decades feel abstract. Larry Page refused that mental shortcut. He made decisions that looked slow on paper but irreversible over time. Short-term profit offers comfort. Long-term structure creates freedom. Larry chose freedom. He reinvested in infrastructure when others extracted dividends. He hired ahead of demand. He spent heavily on data centers long before the payoff was obvious. He absorbed short-term criticism to avoid long-term dependency. This wasn't recklessness. It was sequencing. He understood that quick wins shrink future leverage, that every dollar reinvested at the right moment fuels exponential growth later, and that compounding doesn't tolerate impatience. Most people confuse patience with waiting. Larry treated patience as a strategy. He designed discipline into the system so emotion wouldn't be required to sustain it. That's the difference. Waiting relies on willpower. Design removes temptation. By structuring the company to reinvest automatically, he reduced the need for constant restraint. For him, good behavior became default behavior. While others chased quarterly applause, Larry chased permanence. While others managed optics, he managed ownership. While others optimized headlines, he optimized outcome curves. He understood that wealth doesn't come from intensity, it comes from repeatability, repeatable revenue, repeatable decisions, repeatable strategy. That's why Google didn't need him watching every move to grow. The machine continued to operate because the rules were already in place. And it's the exact reason Google didn't just grow, it endured. By the end of this story, you'll understand why delaying gratification created one of the most powerful business solution systems in history, how Larry Page avoided the traps that quietly destroy high earners and founders, and why the same pressure to cash out early is still costing people their future wealth in 2026. And once you see how this decision reshaped everything that followed, you'll stop rushing financial choices and start relying on logic, even when the amount seems insignificant. Larry Page was born in the year 1973 in Lansing, Michigan. There was no luxury around him, no spotlight, no inherited empire. But there was something far more powerful: his immediate environment. His father was a professor of computer science. His mother taught computer programming. That didn't make Larry rich. It made him comfortable with systems. Coding was part of his daily diet growing up. Money in his home wasn't emotional. It wasn't dramatic. It was logical. As a child, Larry didn't stand out by being loud. He stood out by being curious. He took apart objects to understand how they worked. He asked why systems behaved the way they did. This matters financially, because people who grow up around systems don't chase outcomes. They design processes. Larry carried that mindset into school, then into Stanford, where he met Sergey Brin. Together, they didn't try to build a company, they tried to solve a problem. How do you organize information at scale? And that question wasn't about profit, it was about architecture. Google didn't win because it looked better, it won because it worked better. While early search engines chased ads and deals, Google chased truth. Others sold placement to the highest bidder. Larry Page refused that shortcut. He understood that money earned too early corrupts the system that's supposed to earn it later. Google focused on one thing: the accuracy of information, which later made it relevant. PageRank didn't ask who paid the most. It asked who was trusted the most. Links became votes, patterns became signals, and quality quietly rose to the top. This was not a technical flex, it was a financial one. Relevance builds trust. Trust builds habit, Habit builds dependency. Dependency builds leverage. While competitors monetized attention, Google compounded it. Most businesses rush to extract value. Google delayed extraction to increase ownership of behavior. That single choice changed the curve. Ads come and go. Deals expire. But trust renews itself. Page understood that once people depend on your system to make decisions, monetization becomes optional, not urgent. When users believe the results are honest, they return without being convinced. And returning customers are the most valuable asset in business. Others polluted their platforms chasing revenue. Larry protected his. That restraint looked expensive in the short run, but it created something competitors couldn't copy: credibility at scale. PageRank made manipulation harder. It punished shortcuts. It rewarded consistency. And over time, it trained users to expect accuracy, not promotion. That expectation became Google's moat. And this is where most founders fail. They sell access before trust is established. They monetize traffic before behavior is locked in. They rush revenue before leverage is secure. Larry Page reversed the sequence. He let the system earn loyalty first. He let the data compound. He let habits form naturally, and only then did monetization enter. Clean, powerful, and unavoidable. By the time ads appeared, users weren't choosing Google, they were depending on it. That's the difference between selling space and owning behavior. And once behavior is owned, money follows quietly. This wasn't about building a better search engine. It was about building a system that people trusted enough to rely on, every day without thinking. And systems people rely on don't need to beg for revenue. They decide when revenue arrives. That's how relevance turned into dominance, and dominance turned into compounding wealth, not by charging first, but by being right first. This was a financial decision disguised as a technical one. Relevance builds trust. Trust builds usage. Usage builds data. Data builds leverage. Instead of monetizing attention early, Google delayed gratification. Most companies rush monetization. Google protected experience. This is where opportunity cost appears. By not flooding the platform with ads early, Google sacrificed short-term revenue, but gained long-term dominance. That trade-off is where most people fail. They choose money now over leverage later. Larry Page didn't. He understood that compounding requires patience, and that early restraint multiplies later control. As Google grew, pressure arrived. So investors wanted faster monetization, competitors wanted attention, the market wanted predictability. Larry Page resisted all three. Instead of extracting value, he reinvested it. Instead of optimizing earnings, he optimized infrastructure. Google spent heavily on data centers, talent, and experimentation. This looked inefficient to outsiders, but internally it reduced dependency. Cash flow was reinvested into assets that produced more cash flow. This is leverage done right. Most people use leverage through debt. Larry used leverage through systems. He avoided lifestyle creep. He avoided cash extraction. He avoided building a company that needed constant heroics to survive. Have you ever earned more but felt more pressure instead of freedom? Share your experience in the comments section, because income doesn't create freedom. Structure does. In the year 2011, Larry Page returned as CEO of Google. This wasn't about ego, it was about alignment. Google had grown massive, but complexity was creeping in. Too many projects, too many layers, too much noise. Larry cut it back. He focused on fewer bets with massive upside. He tolerated failure, but not confusion. He invested in moonshots but demanded clarity. Then came Alphabet. This restructure separated core revenue, Google search, ads, from experimental bets. This wasn't cosmetic, it was financial hygiene. Core cash flow was protected, risk was isolated, failure became affordable. This is payoff sequencing at scale. Most households mix necessities and risk in the same account. Larry separated them. That's why Google survived disruption while others collapsed. Larry Page never lived like someone chasing validation. He didn't inflate his lifestyle with income. He didn't tie identity to visibility. He didn't build dependency on attention. His wealth wasn't loud, it was engineered. Google's revenue model is recurring, scalable, and global. No cash flow stress. Ads are renewed daily. Subscriptions followed. Data expanded. Contrast that with most people. They earn annually. They spend monthly. They borrow emotionally. They hope mathematically. Smart money users leverage structure. Others get leveraged by obligations. If you believe wealth should outlive effort, drop your wealth role model in the comments. Because the difference isn't intelligence, it's design. Larry Page didn't win by moving fast. He won by staying aligned. He built systems that didn't need applause to function. They didn't rely on praise, headlines, or constant validation. They worked quietly in the background, doing exactly what they were designed to do, whether anyone noticed or not. Larry Page understood that anything requiring attention to survive is fragile. He removed the need for attention. He delayed rewards not out of hesitation, but out of strategy. He knew early gratification weakens leverage. Money taken too soon limits what can be built later. Every dollar left inside the system expanded reach, optionality, and resilience. While others pulled profits out to feel successful, Larry left capital in to become powerful. He also made a critical distinction most people never make. Risk and survival were never allowed to share the same room. Experimental projects were separated from core revenue. Failure was allowed, but only where it couldn't threaten the foundation. That separation changed everything. When risk is mixed with survival, fear takes over. Decisions become defensive. Innovation slows. Larry designed Google so bold bets could fail without shaking the core. Cash flow stayed protected. Experiments stayed contained. That's financial maturity at scale. He treated money the way engineers treat infrastructure. Not as something to spend emotionally, but as something to allocate deliberately. Every dollar had a job. Every investment had a purpose. Nothing moved without understanding its long-term load. Emotion clouds judgment. Infrastructure removes guesswork. By thinking this way, Larry avoided the most common trap of sudden success, letting money become a mirror for ego. Instead, money became a tool, quiet, functional, reliable. This approach removed urgency from decision-making. When survival is secure, clarity returns, and clarity is where smart risk lives. Most people experience money as pressure. Larry designed it as support. That difference explains everything that followed. Systems built on emotion collapse under stress. Systems built on structure adapt. Systems built for applause fade when attention moves on. Systems built for function endure. Larry wasn't trying to impress anyone. He was trying to build something that didn't need defending. And when systems are designed correctly, they don't ask for belief. They prove themselves through consistency. That's why Google kept working even as leadership changed. The engine didn't stall when titles shifted or faces rotated. Decisions were embedded into systems, not personalities. Hunter processes are carried forward without needing constant reminders. The work didn't depend on who was in the room. It depended on how the room was built. That's why revenue scaled without chaos. Growth didn't break the machine. It strengthened it. More users didn't create confusion. More data didn't create disorder. Expansion didn't introduce fragility because the foundation had been designed for pressure from the beginning. Most businesses grow until they fracture. Google grew until it stabilized. That difference matters, because when growth arrives before structure, everything shakes. Teams scramble, costs balloon, quality slips. Leaders start reacting instead of directing. Chaos becomes the hidden tax on success. Google avoided that mistake, not by slowing ambition, but by sequencing it. That's why the machine kept running long after the spotlight shifted. Attention moved on, trends changed, new stars appeared, and still the system delivered. Revenue arrived, products evolved, decisions flowed through channels already mapped out years earlier. No panic, no reinvention crisis, no dependence on headlines to stay relevant. Because he didn't build noise. Noise needs constant feeding. Noise fades when attention drifts. Noise collapses under pressure. He built infrastructure. Infrastructure is quiet. Infrastructure absorbs load. Infrastructure doesn't care who's watching. Once infrastructure is in place, work continues even when energy fluctuates, leadership rotates, or public interest cools. That's the difference between momentum and permanence. And infrastructure compounds, not loudly, not dramatically, but relentlessly. Every year, the system ran without breaking, added another layer of advantage. Every cycle completed without disruption reinforced trust. Every reinvestment strengthened the base. Applause isn't required for this kind of growth. In fact, applause is often a distraction. The real work happens when no one is clapping. That's why the most powerful systems don't announce themselves. They don't chase validation. They simply function. And when systems work the right way for long enough, results take care of themselves. This is the part most people miss. They chase visibility and wonder why stability escapes them. They pursue recognition and neglect design. They build things that look impressive but fall apart under pressure. Google didn't survive because it stayed popular. It survived because it stayed operational. And that's the lesson hiding in plain sight. Build systems, not stories. Build infrastructure, not noise. Because long after the spotlight moves on, only one thing keeps paying: what was built to last. That's why his wealth survived cycles. That's why Google adapted while others disappeared. That's why his money worked even when he stepped back. This story isn't just about technology, it's about behavior. Because money doesn't reward urgency, it rewards discipline. If this story made you think differently about income, leverage, or long-term wealth, share it with someone who needs to hear it before pressure forces the lesson. We post real finance stories every single day. Subscribe so you never miss the next one. And remember this: fast money fades, aligned money compounds. Subscribe, like, and drop your comment. Catch you in the next story.